surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Like that?
Oh, Basayo's going to challenge.
Yep. Well, why not?
We have not seen a challenge end a game yet. ABS powered by T-Mobile. Basayo for the win. Yes! The first ever ABS challenge to end a game here at Oriole Park. And a closing.
A literal history-making season already for the Baltimore Orioles. That's a fact. Making history yesterday. The first team to win via walk-off abs. Hell yeah, brother. And if anyone knows about abs, it's this guy right here because I have seen them on other people. Hell yeah. Good morning. It's Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn Clark. He's Griffin, and the Orioles did indeed avoid the sweep. Trevor Rogers, 6 strong innings, 2 earned runs, 7 base runners, back-to-back quality starts to open up the year. Albert Suarez, his first save in years because he worked the final 3 innings, which I think seals the idea that the Orioles intend for him to start next Tuesday in Chicago, because they left him in purposely for those 3 innings, leaves the bullpen set for this weekend, and sort of has him stretched out a little bit. I think all that math checks out that he's going to start. And, as Griffin is trying to show you, courtesy of Masson, it was indeed a Leody Taveras revenge game yesterday.
First 505 games of his career with Texas. And Taveras with a drive to right field. That ball's one hop to the wall. Alonso and Beavers are in. Cowser to third. And Leody Taveras in his first game ever against the Texas Rangers.
First start of the season for Leody Taveras. How dare you doubt him? How dare you?
Well, why wasn't he in the lineup Monday night then?
That's a great question. I'm not Craig Albernaz. I knew and all the Orioles needed to break out offensively was the arrival of Leody Taveras. Couldn't help but notice that it was a far more versatile outfield that they had out there. Couldn't help but
covered
notice.
A lot of ground, those 3.
Lot more. Although, God, do you have Jim Palmer's reaction to Taveras' insane throw to third base?
Probably not.
Leody Taveras is man of the match because he got on base 4 times, was on base in all 4 of his plate appearances, and started to get him going, and had the double. Leody Taveras becomes the 3rd man of the match of the season. But he did, when it was 4-0, and then it got to 4-2, just a boner of a throw. You don't understand what boner means in that context.
I don't. I'm like, is that
boner
good or bad?
Boner was a term
not
that
good.
No, boner was a term that like before we used it for other things.
What other thing?
Yeah, men of a certain age used just describe dumb things that someone might do. That was a real boner.
Oh, okay.
That was a thing, and so I've continued to use the term that way, and it's on you where it's a reflection on you that's where your mind is, that you're thinking about rock. Never mind. I'm not, for the record. I'm thinking, of course, only of mistakes, foolish, silly mistakes, and that's what Leody Taveras did in throwing the ball to third base. And I don't remember who the batter was, but it allowed him to get to second base. I guess I should have gone back and looked. I can tell you what the scenario was. Oh, for Pete's sake. God, man. I didn't think I was going to have to do this today.
Pull up the exact situation.
I thought someone else could do the work for me.
It was when it became 4. It was on the hit that made it 4-2.
It was in that inning. I can't say with certainty that it was.
Was
Hang
it
on a
before-
second.
It was before.
Hang on a second.
Well,
Just hang on a damn second.
All right.
All right?
Well, I'll be able to play the audio.
It was.
Let's play.
It was. Yes, it was the play that made it 4-2.
All right.
You have it?
Yeah. I don't think I can share the video just because of this website, but
All right, then.
but we can hear the audio.
Duran on the ground toward the middle. It sneaks through. Henderson was playing him to pull. Tavares will throw to third. That enables Duran to take second. It's 4-2.
Horrible defense.
He's
Well,
right.
that's an emotional play. You have no chance, and even if you do, you can let him go to third. It's 2 outs. Keep
Everything. God, Jim
So
Palmer.
So Tavares throws to third, and that allows Duran to take
Jim
second.
Palmer
easily.
isn't mad. He's just disappointed.
Oh,
That's where he is. He's just so it was Duran singled, Jansen scored, and it was Josh Young.
Josh
Young. Why did I say Jung? Josh Young, who was going to third, and his point is well taken. The point is, what's that? You're not
Horrible defense.
You're not getting him. Like if it's a 1 in a million that you're getting him at third base. Get the ball into second to make sure that Duran doesn't get the second because now you have 2 runners. You just put the tying run in scoring position with 2 outs. Thankfully, Trevor Rogers worked out of it. Got a fly out from Haggerty to end the inning, and it didn't hurt them. But Palmer was right. I mean, that was just, again, a real boner from Leody Tavares. God, I'm screwing up everything today. That was a real boner of a way to.
Yeah, you really bonered that. Or you
Yeah,
boned it.
I don't think that's
You
the
boned it?
correct way. No,
No?
it was a boner. Is the way that you describe it. That was a real boner from me. Damn it. But Leody Tavares still man of the match because he got on base all 4 times. Orioles avoid the sweep. I think that's everything. Oh, Samuel Basayo hit a ball about 1 million miles, 437-foot home run. Dylan Beavers hit a home run as well. Both of them their first of the season. Good to get the bats going. Now they got to keep that up as they arrive in Pittsburgh for a series that starts tomorrow. No update as of right now on Zach Eflin, but I think most of us are assuming that it ain't going to be good whenever we do get it. Since the Orioles have no game today, there's no reason to think they'll be talking. You wouldn't imagine we'll hear anything until early tomorrow afternoon.
I mean, so what's the best case? Like he gets a PRP injection? Is that the best case scenario? And
yeah,
like,
that's probably. Is it a PRP or PCP? Is it PRP?
No, I don't think it's
Is
PCP.
it PRP? I think you're
Isn't
right.
PCP a drug?
Oh yeah, PCP
Yeah.
is a drug. You're right. It is.
They could give him PCP. Maybe that would help. I don't know.
My brain today, man. I don't know what's going on with me. It's because I've been awake for. I didn't get any sleep last night.
Oh, you were on this morning, huh?
Yeah, I was on this morning, so I am exhausted. God, I am tired. I think the first
Anything
couple
good
hours
going
of
on
the day.
in the world?
What's that?
Anything good going on in the world? That
Not really.
No? Okay.
Not really.
the Orioles won. So.
Yeah, the Orioles did indeed. They won. They've got that going for them, and they're 3-3 on the season. God bless. Other news. I know it's not confirmed, and the Banner report says definitively week 3. The Sun report just said not week 1, but the worst-kept secret in the NFL, the thing that we were talking about earlier this week, it does appear more and more as though the Ravens are going to be headed to Brazil. Gianna Hahn confirmed or reported that yesterday. It's a rumor that has been making its way around pretty strongly for the last couple of weeks. We literally were just discussing it and trying to figure out how the schedule would work. And that's the weird part. The weird part is that it doesn't appear as though it's going to be week 1, which is really strange. It's just very strange that they're not going to do the Brazil game in week 1 to limit the impact of the travel. I don't get it. I really am kind of flummoxed by this. What?
Like maybe they're gonna have like a week 4 bye or something like that.
That's what a lot of people think is that's what they're gonna do to try to make up for it.
Kind of stink. Yeah.
It's a very early bye. I mean, I guess that's a more desirable. I really wonder what the Ravens' opinion would be if they were told, "Hey, you're going to play in Brazil in week 3. Would you rather just try to keep playing, or would you rather have the bye afterwards?" I don't know what the answer to that would be. I don't know. It used to be that everybody always wanted their bye after their Europe game, but then I feel like a few teams said, "No, we don't want to do that. We don't want a purposefully early bye." And I know that now some of the Europe games are later on in the season, but that is a really early bye week if that's the case. That is an option, obviously, and the Cowboys also have to travel ahead of time, so there's no, if you did it that way, there's no advantage to anyone. On the other side, it'd just be again, the part where you're off that early in the season, you got to go weeks 5 to week 18 without a break is wild. And I'm sure there'll be Thursday night games in there, and so you'll build in a little bit of a mini bye a time or two as the season goes on. But, yeah, not ideal. I know it's exciting for a lot of people that will end up making the trip that have never been to Brazil before. I've never been to Brazil. I've actually never been to South America before.
All right, so we're going.
We can look into it.
That would be what, September? When's the season start? I don't even know.
Yeah, it'd be if it's week 3, that would be.
And then assuming they play, would they play?
It's a late Labor Day this year, right? Because last year was the first.
because Monday is the August 31st.
Yeah. So I think it's the late, so that'd be the 7th. So that would essentially
the season would start on Wednesday the 9th.
Yeah, so
of course.
If it is a Sunday night game, which I know a few people have speculated, would make it the 27th of September. If that's the case, that's been the speculation from a few folks, including I think Florio, that it's going to be the Sunday night game in week 3.
Well, then never mind. I wouldn't be able to go. My buddy's getting married the day before that.
Move the wedding.
True.
What
are
we doing?
Well, I guess I'll tell him.
The wedding. I don't know. That'll be cool for whoever is going to be able to make that trip, to be able to go to Brazil and have a reason to go to Brazil. I think that's the cool part about it is maybe you've thought that you'd like to go visit somewhere but have never come up with a reason to do it, and this presents you that, okay, here's my reason for doing it. I don't think that's going to be in the cards for me, but if it is for you, very cool. I think I would prefer as a team to play all of my games right here in Los Estados Unidos. Limit the travel, limit the impact, limit what can go wrong, all of the above. I hope that everything is just fine. I know a lot of people have made their jokes about, like, well, what's Lamar Jackson going to be eating in Brazil? And
someone bring just chicken tenders for him to eat all week.
I understand why that would be a question.
Grilled chicken, nothing but.
Gonna go find some street food in Brazil, and I don't know what the plumbing situation is.
I don't know, but the last time he had to poop mid-game,
that's true.
Ended pretty well.
It worked out just fine. So yeah, look, that again has been something that has been talked about quite openly in football circles for a good bit of time now. And it appears more and more as though it's coming to fruition. No official announcement yet, but according to the Baltimore Banner, the Ravens headed to Brazil and would be the Week 3 game. Today's show brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel, the best place to watch all of the mania. And there's 2 rounds left. It's Inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. 100-foot media wall, great food and drink specials. Giveaways during every game. You're just steps away from the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover. We'll talk more about Mania later on in the program when our buddy Patrick Stevens joins us. And we'll discuss the teams that are left in the Final Four, as well as North Carolina needs a coach, and we'll talk some lacrosse with him as well. But before we do that, you will be able to tell that this is not live because I look completely different And it's a different setting and a different location
It looks,
and all of the above.
still looks like Glenn Clark.
Yeah, it does look a little bit like me. I had to do this a bit earlier on, but an opportunity to catch up with one of our favorites and talk Orioles, talk ABS, talk whatever is on the mind of the great Buck Showalter right here on GCR.
Well, it's always a pleasure to be joined now here on GCR by the former manager of the Baltimore Orioles and just someone it honors me to call him a friend. He is the great Buck Showalter, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Buck, what's going on, sir? How are you?
Good. Hope springs eternal. That's why spring training is so good. And then the reality of the season exposes everything, right? Good and bad.
It's normally the way it works. You were here. Just that energy that you felt. And look, opening day is special every year. We all know that. But it did feel like something to me was even a little bit different last week. And I really thought, Buck, that it was unique to like Pete Alonso's here. This is something the Orioles haven't done a lot in their history, is sign that type of player. And I don't know, it just felt like a little bit of a different vibe hanging out last week.
Yeah, I agree. I don't. It's always been a good vibe at that ballpark opening day. It's just, I told Chris Bassett and Pete both, you're going to have a little different feel there because you've heard the expression in the Southeastern Conference, it just means more. Well, I think in Baltimore, sometimes it just means more in some places. And that's what I kept telling the players when I was there. It matters. We're on the West Coast playing. Somebody's back home watching us at, 1 o'clock in the morning and probably going to be late to work tomorrow. I go, it matters to these people. They've all grown up and had their tickets passed down. And Pete will do well there, though. Pete and Chris are two good human beings who happen to be good baseball players.
And Pete did something really nice for Barks this week, which makes all of us very happy because we love Barks and the work they do for our animals. And so big thumbs up for Pete Alonso on that. Buck, it's funny because you bring that. I was thinking about opening days of the past, and we actually had Chris Davis on last week, and we were talking about the Grand Slam on opening day. I'm sure you saw that Chris is going into the Orioles Hall of Fame. Obviously, Chris's story is complicated and has a lot of chapters, but how do you define what Chris meant to those teams and the success that you were able to have?
I've never understood why somebody might not be happy with somebody because they were hurt. Chris loved to play, and Chris wanted to play, and he played through a lot of things after I left there physically. I think that's what upset him some. And, talking to him during Adam Jones' induction, he was really, because he out of respect to Adam, he came regardless of how he's going to be received. And I think that really was something that was really rewarding for Chris to be received well there in Baltimore. And, I know when we traded for him, actually Mr. Angelos was adamant that Chris be in the deal when we said that we might be able to get him, but we didn't, should it stand in the way of the deal. And I remember Peter was pushed hard to have Chris included in the deal. And boy, he had some unbelievable years and things that will stand the test of time. So I'm really happy for him with the Hall of Fame. I think when you compare his stuff, his numbers and his accomplishments with other people, he ranks right up there with them.
There's no question about that, and gave us an awful lot of memories over the years. And maybe, hey, take me back to the day he pitched, right? Like, can you take me back to that? And, what was going through your mind when you told him? Was there like a known, hey, if we've got to do this, he knows he's the guy?
Every team, or at least the teams I managed, you had an emergency pitcher. There was a line there that I wasn't going to cross over. You might lose that game, but you could also lose the next week if you tax your pitching staff. And that's why I watch the way some of these bullpens are managed nowadays. They never live to fight another day, and that's why there's so much flux in them back and forth. And carrying 13 or 14 pitchers, we carried 11 or 12, and of course we look for a different type of pitcher than they look for now. But no, I saw it coming, and I knew that we had shot our last bullet, so to speak. And I knew, I think I've told you before, I'm big on players' bios and getting a picture painted. I knew Chris had pitched in junior college. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of guys, they always talk about it and what have you. And Chris was our designated pitcher because he played first base and didn't have to throw a lot, so we didn't worry about maybe having a sore arm for a little while. That's why we kind of picked him in the spring. And I didn't want to tell him a couple innings before. I want to kind of spring it on him. I just said, he was DHing that day, which made it another. A lot of people didn't know that rule about the DH.
Yeah, so you get to keep him in the lineup, right? After you.
I don't know if you remember, Bobby Valentine came out and argued it, and then later he put his DH in the game and copied. I just go down the bullpen and warm up cold turkey. I didn't want him to go out there and get 8 pitches. So where he didn't have time to think about it, he said later. And, regardless of the outcome, I actually thought he had a better chance to keep them in check than their guy did to keep us in check. So I like the matchup. And he, Chris had pretty good stuff. He always had a great arm. He could have played third. He could have played the outfield. And he played first base. And the thing that separates first basemen is their ability to throw. And Chris's ability to throw put him at another level.
If I remember right, they went with Darnell McDonald to pitch, right? And
I got to tell you, there's times when you're a little giddy as a team. We were a little giddy after the game, quite frankly. I wasn't, but maybe I was. But I remember coming off the field, people were trying to suppress laughter, not because they were laughing at something funny, because they're just kind of giddy that had all worked out, and and we were moving on to the next city with our bullpen intact, and you couldn't ask for a better plane ride. I'm gonna tell you that.
It's pretty cool. That was a Sunday game in Boston. That was pretty cool. Buck Showalter.
Our own ballpark. That doesn't hurt either.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I want to talk to you about ABS because we've talked about it before. You've seen it now for a couple games, and there have been some crazy scenes and fans that have gotten into it as the replays go up on the screen. Now that you've seen what it looks like, has it changed at all your thoughts about what it does for baseball?
No, I think I've been for it from the get-go. Until you've lost a game because an umpire, years ago there used to be a vindictiveness, and they almost pass it down to the next crew, especially with the young players. Now they don't have that anymore. And the umpires have gotten better and better and better. They, and we knew they had tried and tested it. It's like in pro and college football, the replay is part of the entertainment package, so to speak. You can't wait to see the replay. And I think we're seeing that in baseball too. Now the umpire's ego is I think it's also telling you how hard it is to umpire. But anything that allows the fans to trust the game and the out or safe. Sometimes I can't figure out why we have certain plays we don't review, but as long as it's fast and it's quick, which it is, I don't have a problem with it. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. And then, I don't like yelling at an umpire after he's had 3 or 4 calls overturned. I think that's a cheap shot. I think that's just, jumping in when somebody's vulnerable. I don't like that.
Well, and some of them are, like 0.3 inches off the plate. Like, come on, man. Like
Yeah.
The ones that are right down the middle that somehow get called balls, that's what it is. But the ones that are, you go to the replay and it's a nose hair out of the zone. Anybody could miss that. Do you feel like it's going to trend towards this is just going to be the way that we call balls and strikes in the coming years?
I think people are going to, okay, take it away right now. Let's put it this way, Glenn. Take it away and don't play with it for the next week. People, players I know,
Yeah.
they like the fact that, and you're going to identify very quickly who knows what a ball and a strike is between the 3 people that can call it. I don't mind it because it's out of my hands as a manager, but I think fans, if you took it away right now, they would not be happy.
That's interesting. I think you're right. I've heard the argument there's like almost an entertainment factor that it needs to stay with the challenge system. And, Buck, I am 100% in your get the calls right to me is the thing that I think matters the most. And the entertainment part of it is fun right now, but I think that's a novelty that starts to go away a little bit after we've seen it for a while. I'm just always going to be in favor of getting the calls right.
Wait until you're in a playoff situation. I know if I was broadcasting, I'd go, you realize that would not have happened last year. You're in Game 7 of the World Series. Think about all the things we could review through the years, and don't tell me human error is part of the game. We have the technology. I've got 8 or 9 things that I like that I would change. I would have a laser with the foul pole, so when the ball goes over the pole.
Well, at least nothing like that ever impacted you. Nothing related to the foul pole ever was relevant in Orioles history.
Talking about Nate McLeod.
Oh yeah, I might have been thinking about Nate McLeod.
But I think there should be 2 bags. I love what college, where you don't have the injury every year. 2 or 3 guys get hurt that way, and it would allow you to run in the lane a little more instead of having that call go on. I think you should have a check swing call in the 9th inning review. I don't think it's good for fans to have a game end on a check swing. But first, the thing you'd have to do, Glenn, is define what a check swing is.
Mm-hmm.
Properly define. And there's easy to get an overhead camera where you could do it in 30 seconds.
And is it the front of the plate to you? Like if it's checked before the front of the plate, that's a check?
Well, that's something we've got to come together as a group. I've always looked at intent more than, the intent of it was something I kind of looked at more than anything else.
That's that would be tough to do via review though, right? Like we couldn't review intent.
Easy. Intent. No, that's why you got to define it.
Yeah.
You got to define exactly what it is and isn't, and then nobody could complain about it.
Buck, how do we measure, judge appropriately a manager, a new manager we don't know anything about? Craig Albertez has seemed to play all the right notes. He's very likable. He's incredibly affable. Every conversation we've had, he's been great. But what should we be watching that actually teaches us or that we can learn about a manager, about tendencies, about how he's handling a job the first time around?
I think it's consistency as far as the personality. The players don't want somebody that's up and down, and that's what I liked about Pete. Nobody ever said, "Hey, Pete's not having a good day. He's not in a good mood today." He was the same guy every day when he walked through. So is Chris Bassett. So that's a good thing to say about, because you don't need inconsistent personalities in a clubhouse if you can help it. I also think the bullpen. That's the one thing. Your timing and keeping a bullpen healthy is something that a manager is responsible for. The dry humps, the things that you do needlessly. If I had to walk in a ballpark, Glenn, and I got to look at one thing that would give me a feel for a manager, I'd watch his bullpen. How far in advance he's getting people up, and does he see things coming? Are you getting somebody up for no reason? I watched the game yesterday. It was the 2nd inning, and they had 2 pitchers up in the bullpen in the 2nd inning. Now, that you don't know who's going to pitch in that situation. We never went to bed the night before a game without saying who's going to pitch tomorrow if the pitcher gets hit with a line drive with the first pitch. You've got to be able to answer that question as a manager and a general manager, because you are putting on a show every day. You better have somebody that knows the lines.
It's really funny you bring that up, because we saw yesterday Trevor Rogers was in a little trouble in the 4th inning, and the Orioles had Suarez up, who ultimately went in and pitched the last 3 innings of the game and got that save. But it's something I never thought about before. If you get 2 guys up, the argument is that this is somebody who's not prepared. This is somebody who has not thought through these types of situations that we all know could come up at any point in the game.
You don't. That's why I remember guys like T.J. McFarland and some other guys we had that were key pieces.
Yeah.
Not because they were, had a 2 ERA or something. It's because they kept us from overtaxing the Darren O'Days and the Zach Brittons and the Jeff Johnsons and the Brad Brocks and so on, Brian Mattis, because it kept us from having to push those guys where they didn't remain healthy. I got to tell you, that bullpen we had there for a few years was a pretty healthy, and it was by design.
I mean, that was a special group, man. That was an incredible group that you all had together. I'm interested in, this conversation is fascinating to me. The way you were always a poker face guy, right? Like, you were always so even. I've never really talked to you about this. How much of that was you forcing yourself to be poker faced and to stay as even keeled? You mentioned the guys being giddy after the Boston win, right? Like, Did you want to be giddy, but said, "Hey, I know I can't be. I shouldn't be"?
It's just not. You know, a lot of it's the environment that you were raised in baseball. You know, that's why all the stuff they do, gyrations. I don't get mad. You know, it's the world they were brought up in.
Hmm.
You know, wearing eye black when the sun's not out. I mean, it's okay. It's just what they do, and I don't want to be the old guy screaming at the kids. So, you know, I'm pulling for the young first-year managers. I was that guy one time, Glenn. I was 35 managing the Yankees, and people were not wanting me to fail, but, you know, because I hadn't played in the big leagues. And so I feel for Tony Vitello and these guys, and I pull for them because I know what they're going through. As long as they don't think they're reinventing the game, because this game will bite you if you think you got it all figured out. But I just didn't want the players to think I was making all these facial expressions and gyrations after they've done something poorly. I learned my lesson one time. I was coming back from, well, in Baltimore it happened too. I was coming back from the post game, and there's like a 10-minute delay, and I was coming by the training room. There must have been 10 guys in there crowded around listening to what I had to say. So it reminds me of how much these guys are exposed to things. There are no secrets. And sometimes you can talk too much, you know, get in and get out. You don't have to keep talking just because nobody's asked you another question.
Or sometimes you started asking us questions, which we always appreciate.
By design.
Buck, we've talked before about extensions, and you guys were able to do a few. Adam obviously was a game changer for the organization. Was, you know, maybe the most significant moment of that era to me. But even, you know, Markakis, Rob, they did some extensions, but the Orioles haven't done a lot of them over the years. They're doing a couple more. They did Samuel Basallo very early in his career last year. They just gave one to Shane Baz, who they had acquired. We like to think that is relevant, that matters to other guys, that it talks about the culture of the organization, that you can be rewarded here. Does that matter as much as we think it does beyond just having the player locked up?
The short answer is probably not.
Okay.
We're going to go where the highest bidder is for the most part. You know, I remember talking to Chris Davis. I said, he asked me about, you know, they were in contract negotiations. I just said, Chris, how much is enough? I said, the difference between 22 million and 22 and a half. Really? I mean, so you got to pick where you're happy and where your family is and where you enjoy it. You know, you should hear the text messages and phone calls I get from Pete about Baltimore. He said, man, you were right. And, you know, it's a little different than Queens and going islands, you know, freeway, which I did every day. It's a different culture, but I think, does it mean that somebody else is going to sign here? You know, you're right, though, Glenn. It wasn't like we never gave somebody a contract.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot of that, and for the right people, and we held on to them. But there's such a thing as make a good deal and get out before you make a bad deal. Be a year ahead of it. And I got to tell you, long-term contracts for pitchers, especially in today's game, and that's why there's such a paramount in developing your own pitchers. Develop your own pitchers, you're going to be making some deals that you look back and go, what was I thinking?
It's tough, though, because like we're watching Trevor Rogers, who obviously was outstanding a year ago and has gotten off to a great start. And there's that party that just says, boy, you found that, right? Like you found that and made it work. You hate the thought of him not being around at the end of the season when he becomes a free agent. There's a party that wants to say, come on, give him that money.
Yeah, you look at, like, I'm not sure there's a better commitment than the one they made to Bassett. He's not going to every day. You know, Chris is just going to be a consistent force there, and he's not going to let you know, it snowball when things get a little negative and he has a bad outing or so. He's just a strong mental guy, and he's 37. But you know, do you give a guy a contract because he's never been hurt? Well, you're not going to give out many contracts. A lot of times when a guy hasn't been hurt, well, you're going to be holding it when it happens, because putting your arm over your head and jerking it down violently every 100. You know, for 100 pitches every fifth day is not what the good Lord had in mind for your shoulder. So you're going to have issues, especially with the way these guys chase velocity now and max torque. You know, I played 7 or 8 years, was never on the IL, but, you know, we played through a lot of things that, you know, rightfully they shouldn't play through. We had a thing called an ace bandage. You wrapped your hamstring, you wrapped your groin, and you posted up because you're afraid somebody's going to take your job.
That's kind of terrifying. That is so kind of terrifying. Buck, did you hear that the NFL is starting their season on a Wednesday night this year?
Kind of like Major League Baseball opening day at night.
Yeah, well, okay. Where are you on that? Because Kirk and I were talking about it the other day, and he wants everybody playing on opening day, and I get where he's coming from, but I also think that opening day is unique to your market, right? Like, it's unique to your opening day is when your team plays its first home game. So I don't know how much it matters if that's the first day or the second day or, in some cases a week later.
I agree that San Francisco is unique in a lot of ways. We won't get into that. But I don't know. I'm kind of like, what's best for the fans? And I live with the rest of it.
Yeah.
I was kidding Baskergian, who was doing the game. I said, did you guys have a quota of how many times you had to mention the word Netflix during the test? Oh, my gosh. Not like my gosh, every other sentence had Netflix in it. But that's what makes the world go around. It's usually about the money, Glenn.
It is normally about the money. I don't need all of these celebrity appearances and comedians and all that during the broadcast.
We won't bury Bonds on that, but yet we're not going to let him in the Hall of Fame. It seems a little contradictory.
Oh, Buck, do I have look, David Ortiz failed a test, and we put him in the Hall of Fame. He failed a test. Barry Bonds isn't allowed to be in the Hall of Fame.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
I understand. I understand where you're coming from.
I have thoughts, but nothing publicly. They don't really care what I think. It's okay. But, I wish the best for everybody. And there, by the grace of God, go all of us.
I was thinking about the NFL is opening on a Wednesday night this year, which, remember, once upon a time, they weren't willing to do that when the Orioles had a game scheduled on a Thursday night, and they made the Ravens go play out in Denver, and there was a lot of hullabaloo. It's real weird how this time around they're super okay with opening the season on a Wednesday night. Just really strange.
Talking about a lot of the concussions and things, but yet they're talking about adding another game.
Oh yeah, that's happening. But that's happening.
It's once again, it's about the money, and I think I'm wondering out loud sometime whether we're going to have baseball in 2027.
I'm convinced we're not. But I don't know where you are. Where are you with the? Is it worth it? Like, does the game need a salary cap so badly that it's worth it if it costs them a season to try to fight for it?
Well, it's going to be. I'm not going to weigh in too much on it, Glenn, but I'll tell you, it's going to be. I don't want to say fascinating because I'm not looking forward to it, but the union's different than it was back when in '94. There's going to be some interesting decisions that people are going to have to make. I got to tell you, I think the owners are pretty solid. I do. It's kind of like I look at it the same way I look at NIL. At some point the Pittsburgh Pirates have to have the same chance to sign Ohtani that the Dodgers do. And probably the best thing that might happen for both sides is if the Dodgers win again this year. If they win again,
the anger.
Be no sympathy for owners or players from the fans. We have to change something. They will come out, so the one good thing about the Dodgers winning again is that I think the vibe is going to be, we've got to change this. That world draft. I mean, some of these guys, they're going to end up on the West Coast. I mean, off the field with the Dodgers, Ohtani's making twice as much money.
No doubt. No doubt.
Make that in Baltimore.
No, but I mean, to some extent, that's always going to be the case, even no matter what the salary. But what you just said is the important part. And I know I talked to Britton about it recently because he was on the executive committee, and their argument is, and Bassett was talking about it too, that we have had different champions. That the Chiefs haven't won all the championships, and the Patriots didn't win all the to me, it's that opening day feel. Like, how many markets when the season begins are indifferent, are just it doesn't matter. And obviously the White Sox, the Rockies, the Marlins, there have been years where it's been like that in Baltimore, and That is killer.
I think the key, Glenn, is it's so hard to sustain things. We knew we had a window in Baltimore that at some point, Manny, we couldn't afford him. Some point, these pitchers, Britton, we couldn't afford them. We couldn't, the outlay, we couldn't put a team together. So we knew we had a window, and it started closing towards the end of 17 and 18. And, we had to get out and retool, so to speak. But, I think while the Dodgers and Yankees can sustain long periods of competitiveness, there's a cycle that teams that don't have that wherewithal that there's just so many years they can compete before they have to step back and do it again.
Are you doing any TV this year?
Some, a little picky. I tell you, commercial travel has turned into such a pain. You realize they don't really care what you think, that they've got 8 people waiting on your seat. Just get out of the way if you don't like it. So
how long did you wait in the security line when you left Baltimore last week?
WI, the security line, Palmero was two guys in front of me, Rafi, and we were both outside in the line, outside of the. It's okay. You just assume the position.
I guess. I wish somebody would have said, this is Buck Showalter and Rafael Palmeiro. Maybe we let them on the plane. Maybe we could have done that at some point.
Do that. I got there early enough. My wife made me.
I appreciate it. Give Angela our best. Buck, always appreciate you. Thank you for doing it.
Glenn, thanks for your time. You take care of yourself. God bless.
You never know where Buck Showalter is going to want to go during the course of a conversation with him. You just never know what might be coming next. Appreciate him taking the time for us, as always. And anytime Buck wants to talk, we are going to talk to him. Today's show brought to you by the print issue of Press Box. Not that much longer that this one's going to be out there, so go get it before it's gone with Cal Ripken on the cover. Your Baltimore area highest dairy stores, all of the many locations around town where you find Press Box. You can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. Kirk Cousins has a new home, presumably backing up Fernando Mendoza in Las Vegas. He signs what I think the way that it was.
I know that this report is. I'm like, what? And then I was like, okay.
Adam Schefter explained it a little bit more. It's going to say it's a 5-year, $172 million
which is the graphic
deal.
ESPN put out.
What? But he says in reality, it's a 1-year, fully guaranteed $20 million deal that also contains a club option for 2 years at $80 million. So I guess it builds in like a what if Fernando Mendoza doesn't pan out,
or gets hurt, I guess.
Or some act of God that causes him to not ever be a quarterback.
Or
in the
they
NFL.
don't take Fernando, they take
right. I guess that's also
know.
possible.
Someone
they take Ruben Bain and say, "We got Kirk Cousins, baby. What are we doing? Arvel Reese is our guy. We don't need Fernando Mendoza.
Take Spencer Fano. I don't know.
Exactly right. Okay. But yeah, in when it's written that way, it makes a lot more sense. Like, okay, it's a highly paid backup quarterback for 1 year, as you make sure that Fernando Mendoza is ready to go, and you hope that he's ready to be, a good influence on Fernando Mendoza. That makes some amount of sense. We'll talk Final Four when we come back in. Patrick Stevens makes his weekly appearance next. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
March Mania is on at Live Casino. And you can get a front row seat for all the action at Sports and Social. Raise your game with massive wall-to-wall TVs. And raise a cheer with your favorite beers, cocktails, and an all-star menu. Best of all, you could win huge prizes every game. Don't get benched. Book your table at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, ICAR Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website CostasInn.com for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnken. If you've been injured in Maryland, you know you need a great lawyer. Look no further than us, Warnken LLC. You've seen my picture on billboards around town. You've seen me on TV. Now I'm lucky enough to get to be here with Stan. Please give us a call. 443-RESULTS. It is not just a phone number, it's a mission. 443-RESULTS. Or visit us online at warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Yeah, back in here on GCR. Don't forget, spring sports season in full swing. Countysports.zone is the website to keep you updated at all times. Scores, schedules, rankings, everything you might need to know for every team at every school all throughout the state. Go to countysports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com for everything that you need to know when it comes to baseball, softball, lacrosse, and all of the spring sports. Final four set for Saturday after what looked at points like it was going to be kind of a dud of an Elite Eight weekend, but it turned out, at least 2 of the games ended up being really good. Joining us now, as he does every week here on GCR, covers college sports, Raleigh News and Observer, OVS and Giglio podcast, as well as USA Lacrosse Magazine. He is our friend, Mr. Patrick Stevens, and he's back with us now on the program. Patrick, what's going on, sir? How are you?
Glenn, how did things find you on this Thursday morning?
Everything is all right. I am going to point out an observation that was made to me, that you got a little screen time this weekend down in D.C. during the games, and someone, and they'll remain nameless, said, Patrick doesn't even seem like he's happy to be there. I bet he'd rather be at some meaningless Loyola Lafayette game on a Wednesday night than at the actual Elite Eight or Sweet 16. True or untrue?
Untrue.
Okay.
Although I will point out that I managed to do a lacrosse basketball doubleheader on Sunday, where I caught Carolina and Harvard over at Archbishop Spalding.
That sounds like something
maybe
you would do.
It does sound like something I would do. Yeah. I will tell you that I don't know which day it would have been that somebody would have been spying on me there. But the funny thing is that you're talking about that regional final game, and it's already fascinating to me how it's being retconned into one of the greatest games ever, when in fact for 36 minutes it was not a great game.
Not a good game at all.
Okay, let's be clear, that was not a great game. the game on Sunday was not as good as the Duke St. John's game was on Friday.
That's fair.
But the finish was an all-time.
Yeah, the finish was insane. I mean, the finish is one of the craziest things we'll ever see in the history of the NCAA tournament, period.
Although I will tell you this, and you will, this kind of ties into the, is he really happy to be there type of thing. So the angle that I had on that, so just beyond the baseline opposite the Duke bench. So I saw that shot from right behind Mullins, like a clear line behind Mullins when he took it. And it was like, and I just mumbled as he shot it. It's like, that's good, like just knew, and so like it looked good. It looked good right out of his hands. And so some of the like ecstasy that comes from a moment like that is just being so shocked that it happened.
And you were not.
And and I was not because I had a second and a half heads up basically.
Wow.
That looks like that's going to go in.
What is it?
I would have actually. Go ahead.
You're not, Patrick is the definition of a professional when it comes to. There are times where there are people that end up sitting in press areas that very much do not belong there. Patrick is the opposite of that. Patrick is like as down the line it thinks Patrick could loosen up a little bit. Like that's the way that it feels. What is the most audibly that you've ever gasped at something? Not because obviously of like an interest, but just of the pure shock or awe value of something that you saw.
That's a good question. I'd have to, it's funny. I have to think about that a little bit.
We were. It's funny because Griff and I were actually.
I will give you this story.
Yeah.
Because it was more disgust and aggravation. One thing, right? You're not cheering for anything, right? But if there's one thing that people in this line of work are rooting for, it's no overtime.
Correct, yes.
Or no extra inning.
Correct.
Okay, like who am I rooting for in a baseball game? Whoever's leading going into the ninth inning.
And who are you rooting against? The person who says the game is moving along quite quickly.
You're definitely rooting against that person. So. So there was a game it was in September of 2019, and the Nationals were making their push for the wild card at that point, and a game that Nationals fans will remember very fondly. The Mets were in town, and so a wild, ridiculous game, and I'm bringing up the box score just to get the exact date on it and the exact details on it. And so, it had been tight, and then the Mets go ahead. In the ninth inning, or they pad the lead in the ninth inning. So going into the ninth, it's 5-4, and the Mets score 5 runs in the top of the ninth, go up 10-4. And so you okay, you got to scramble a little bit, write some of that stuff up, and so. The Nats load the base. They get a couple runs in. They load the bases, and Kurt Suzuki hits a walk-off grand slam. And it's basically Control A delete at that point. And it's like this, right? Like
you're saying
that was probably like you. Yeah.
You're saying,
and not because I had any emotional
in the result itself.
No, the outcome
it's just the fact that all the work that you've done, you're scrambling, and now you've got to completely rip it all up and start all over.
You got to completely start over, and oh, by the way, the clubhouse is going to open here in another 10 minutes.
You have no time to do it, right? Yeah.
And that was at a year where like Edwin Diaz was lights out. I think it was, except against the Nats. Actually, he was not lights out all year, but he was really bad at Nats Park. And he's the one that gave up that grand slam to Suzuki. And it was, and like that game, as I completely forgot about before bringing up this box score, it was Jacob deGrom versus Max Scherzer.
That started.
And
wow.
so
yeah.
you're thinking it's going to be that going in, and of course, they both give up 4 runs and it's not like you got great outings, classic outings out of either of those guys, and then just all craziness breaks loose in the ninth inning.
So what we're saying is, if you happen to notice someone when the Orioles host the Angels this summer giving Kurt Suzuki the finger, don't mind your business. Is what we're saying. Mind your business. Kidding. There's no way you do that. That's good. That's a good one, Patrick. That's very good. All right, let's talk about the Final Four. How open is it for all four of these teams? I feel like Illinois is the only team that everybody's kind of writing off, and I don't know if they should even be fully writing off Illinois. How open is it for all four of these teams?
So the question you almost have to ask is like, are Arizona and Michigan going to end up having such a heavyweight slugfest in the late game on Saturday that both of them are just completely drained come Monday night? And my guess is not, but it doesn't seem impossible. So, Illinois, last year I remember talking about Duke, the Cooper Flag team, and that was the best offensive efficiency team in the history of the KenPom website. So going back like 30 seasons, basically. And I'm like, well, we're not going to see an offense like this again anytime soon. And Illinois is even better than that. So it's hard, I think, to completely discount a team that scores at the kind of clip that they do. And even when you look at, their losses, they're usually scoring pretty well. The question is can they defend well enough against an elite team to be able to get the job done? Now, they've played Connecticut already. They lost to them at the Garden back the day after Thanksgiving. But I do think Michigan and Arizona are the two best teams remaining. I think Michigan has been as consistent as anybody has been over the course of the full season. So I would say that whoever wins that game, particularly if it's Michigan, I would rate them as the best of the remaining four teams. But at the same time, Michigan lost, or Michigan beat Illinois by 14 in late February. There's always the classic run it back element, like Michigan or Illinois would be better the next time around in that situation. So I lean towards Michigan over the rest. We were sort of denied what I thought would have been the most hilarious possible outcome, which is 3 Big Ten teams and the fourth team actually winning it all.
Yeah.
But beyond that, like another thought here is Illinois has 8 losses, and 4 of the 5 losses they've had since the start of February were in overtime. Like if you switch a possession in each of those games, and how differently are we thinking about the Illini?
That's fair.
So ultimately, I lean towards Michigan being the best of the remaining teams, but I don't think it's outlandish for any of them. I will say that when you asked at the start of the tournament, like how many teams do you think can win, and I think my answer was 6 or maybe 7. Iowa State was kind of that hinge team, and the Jefferson kid gets hurt, and they basically weren't at full strength.
Yeah.
Connecticut, Arizona, Michigan were all in that top 6. Illinois was not.
How much of a factor is the North Carolina conversation surrounding the final? Like we're all still thinking about what happened with Kevin Willard a year ago. I don't know that anything is different about the Sweet 16 game between Maryland and Florida. If Kevin Willard is a month earlier agreed to a 5-year contract extension and Maryland is a competent athletic department with an athletic director in play. Like, I don't know that anything about that game changes, but there is the belief of that. Do you think that conversation surrounding a couple of these coaches, and obviously that game in particular, has anything to do with what we're going to see this weekend?
Well, first of all, like, Florida probably would have just overwhelmed Maryland on the glass regardless anyway last year in that Sweet 16 game. That was a bad matchup in retrospect for Maryland. And whether Kevin Willard is happy for some reason or another, or if he's sniping it at his administration, I think that game plays itself out. Tommy Lloyd is not sniping at his administration, at least not publicly anyway. And so I don't know that that is a major concern. If you've just made the Final Four for the first time in 26 years, I think it's hard for people to be angry at you if you happen to just get up and leave after this. If you win a national title, I think it would be hard for people to get angry at you if you up and left. Like, here's a national title, guys. I came in and I won one in 5 years for you. Like, that's that's not bad.
Thanks, man.
So
good luck.
Like, I mean, I think everybody got what they would get what they wanted out of that deal. So it's interesting. Did a little research this week on this, and there's been exactly one coach coming off a Final Four in the last 46 years who has left for another college job.
It's got to be a mid-major that happened to make, or who am I?
It was Roy Williams going from Kansas to North Carolina.
All right, yeah, sure, I should have.
Okay,
yeah.
So you've had in that span Rick Pitino twice, Larry Brown, and John Calipari going to the pros, and Dean Smith, Bill Guthridge, Mike Krzyzewski, Jay Wright, and Bruce Pearl all retired.
Yeah.
But the list of coaches that have left for college jobs. The last one before Roy Williams was Lee Rose going from Purdue to South Florida in 1980. The one before that was Joe Williams going from Jacksonville with Artis Gilmore to Furman in 1970.
Okay.
And the one before that was Ken Leffler going from LaSalle to Texas A&M in 1955.
Again, here's the weird part. Patrick actually knew all of those right off the top of his head. Yeah. Sure.
No, I have a file open. I did the research here, so we're not going to give me credit for this one. But the point being, like, it is really, really unusual to see this sort of thing happening. And if it happened to Carolina again, where they're getting the coach, my friend Joe Giglio has a saying, obviously with Ovius and Giglio, he's like, if something good can happen to Carolina, it will.
That is interesting.
So, if Tommy Lloyd is open to leaving, it probably will happen.
Well, and it feels like it does have to be. Maybe there's something else that we don't know, but it feels like it at least has to be a serious factor, because why wouldn't Carolina have hired their coach at this point?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I mean, especially with the element of the portal opens on Tuesday.
Right. You want to
have that's the variable now. Where, whereas before it was, well, you obviously have a ton of guys who have declared that they're going to transfer, or their intent to transfer anyway. But the portal doesn't actually technically open for business until the day after the national championship game. So that's sort of like the NFL free agency thing, where everybody knows who's going to be available, and then all the news starts breaking at 12:01 a.m. and it's probably going to be something pretty similar to that.
It's incredible how that works. They all
it is amazing.
Manage to get those deals done so quickly. That is just ridiculous. Patrick Stevens with us here on GCR. You mentioned the transfer portal. Obviously, disappointing news this week for Towson. They're going to lose both Tyler Tejada and Dylan Williamson. I don't think it can be surprising. I think it was far more surprising they kept them for as long as they did. And clearly disappointing that they weren't able to make it work with an extra year with those guys.
Yeah, but at the same time, the couple days of the CAA tournament aside, that was something that team felt like it had kind of played itself out.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of watching them throughout league play. Those two guys are obviously really, really good. But there's sort of the argument of what do you do in this era? Do you basically give a bunch of money to one or two guys, or do you spread the money around the roster and maybe you get stuck without that singular player or two that are going to basically take you are capable of taking you to the promised land? So, I think Williamson probably is in line to graduate. He's a fourth-year player, redshirt junior. So, I think you got 4 years out of him and 3 years out of Tejada. And this team just, after that tournament over Thanksgiving, they just never quite got things together again really until the last week of the regular season and those first couple games in the conference tournament. And so it's going to be a very different looking Towson team next season. And I'll be curious to see exactly how they allocate their resources. And so, they're obviously going to. It's going to be a different cast of characters for sure, because those two guys clearly were the nexus for everything that they were doing offensively.
And I would assume that Tyler Tejada, I know, what all of us who have watched him would say is, hey, be careful, because there's just kind of like I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes where it seems like he's just not involved whatsoever. But I would still assume that he is going to be in very high demand, and we'll probably get a big dollar offer from a major school moving forward.
I suspect so. I suspect he might have gotten more last year.
Yeah.
Because this was a year where his three-point shooting slipped and wasn't quite as prominent a player on a team that wasn't at the top of his league. But yeah, I would anticipate that multiple somebodies are going to be very, very interested in him. Certainly, how does 17.7 points a game and 5.5 rebounds a game, where everything's built around you, translate to, what level are we talking? Are we talking like a Big East or an ACC or a Big Ten school? Are we talking like an A10 school or a Mountain West or something like that? Or is it a level further down than that? How big a role is it? There's all sorts of things there. Does it just come down to dollars? So be certainly curious to see where he winds up landing.
Reports of Virginia lacrosse's demise perhaps a bit exaggerated?
Yeah, just a little bit. And that also kind of shows you the danger of like paying too close attention to the RPI any earlier in the season than mid-April. Basically jumped like 8 or 9 spots in that from beating Notre Dame over the weekend. And the thing is that in a league where everybody other than you went 30-3 in non-conference play up through last weekend, 31-3 if we throw North Carolina's victory over Harvard in there, that meant that there were lots of great opportunities for high-end victories, and Virginia didn't waste any time at all in doing that. One of the teams that might benefit from that Virginia win is Maryland, which now has a victory over a borderline top 10 team to work with. And so, the Terps obviously have a lot to do as well, just getting back to 500 and beating Michigan. But, there is certainly chances for Maryland to improve its lot in life here with Ohio State, Rutgers, Hopkins coming up the next 3 weeks.
And I guess the question is, is Richmond definitively the best team in the country, or does this go back to what you just said, which is, get back to me in a couple of weeks?
Get back to me Saturday around 3 o'clock. They play Notre Dame out in Chicago.
Yep.
So that'll be a nice test. Look, Richmond has that victory over Virginia. They beat Georgetown. They've done some really good things, and they beat Cornell up there. So they've done some really great stuff and are going to be a force to be reckoned with next month. But I don't know if anybody really knows who the best team in the country is at this point.
Again, that game against Notre Dame will be on, not on TV, but it will be streamed. I guess some places that's TV, but you can watch it on ESPN Plus. After it looked like a couple weeks ago there would be no broadcast for it. All right, sir, let's play the game. Can Patrick Stevens name the MLB teams for this particular person? And we begin with a manager, and I did not know all 3 teams, but I bet you will. 3 teams as a manager for Buck Rogers.
Buck Rogers was the Expos, the Angels, and the Brewers,
Indeed,
right?
The Brewers to start, 80-82. Very well done. So that makes me feel better because, I say this one's difficult, but I always know that you can prove me wrong. This man, a 2-time All-Star, once led the league in saves, ended up with 4 teams, and none of them were one-year stints. Eddie Guardado.
Okay. Definitely Minnesota.
Obviously, the bulk.
Okay. He was an Angel, correct?
Not an Angel.
No?
No.
Okay. Why did I think he was an Angel?
I don't know. I only got one other one, for what it's worth.
Okay. Was he a Rocky?
Not a Rocky, no.
No. Huh. I must be getting him confused with somebody else.
I'm trying to think of who. I don't know who it might be that you're confusing with.
Huh. Okay. Where? Oh, he was in Seattle.
That was the only
right?
other one that I came up with, yes, was Seattle. The other two, it turns out, were Texas and Cincinnati for 30 appearances at the end. And so a nice, easy one to clean it up. 3 teams for Mr. Sideburns himself, Brady Anderson.
Boston, Baltimore, and Cleveland.
Very good. Lacrosse this week?
Yeah, definitely doing Maryland and Ohio State on Saturday. TBD for the early games still.
Very good. At Discourse, D1S Course is how you follow him on Twitter, and Blue Sky, more importantly, USA Lacrosse Magazine and Raleigh News and Observer, OVS and Giglio. Patrick Stevens, always appreciate you, sir. Looking forward to talking about what all this means for Tom Izzo next week.
Always a treat. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Patrick Stevens with us as he is every week. Appreciate him taking the time for us. I assume Tommy Lloyd is going to be the coach at Carroll. I just assume that's the way it's going to play out. I don't know why they wouldn't have a coach otherwise. I mean, unless it's going to be a real shocker and it's Dusty May, right? Like, why wouldn't Carolina have a coach? Unless it was going to be one of those guys. And I say that because the way I asked it to Patrick is like, it to me has to be a factor. It's always possible that Tommy Lloyd's agent is really playing Carolina because Tommy Lloyd wants to stay at Arizona, but has to use that for leverage. But it's a dangerous game to play. I don't know what the impact is. It's interesting because...
Or to be Billy Donovan? Like, that, I guess... Like, is that...
But, I mean, I guess...
But, like, would they... Yeah, is that worth waiting this long?
I also wonder...
Waiting post-portal?
Well, I would also say if you're Billy Donovan, right?
Right, yeah.
Wouldn't you just... What is the Bulls' record?
I actually don't know. They're not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I know they're not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're 29-47.
I mean, like, who involved would be if Billy Donovan knows he's moving on?
Right, like why
wouldn't
keep
he
sitting
just
on it?
Right. Why wouldn't everybody involved just say, "Hey, man, we know, all good. Like, we can let one of these guys run the team the rest of the way. Enjoy your time." Also, how old is Billy Donovan at this point?
Not that. Oh, he's 60. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that disqualified because Tommy Lloyd I think is 55, right? Like I don't think it's not like Tommy Lloyd's young.
You know who they should hire?
Who?
Buzz Williams.
That would be a great get for them. It'd be a really great get.
They're only hiring guys for 5 years anyway.
It's a great point, right? Yeah. I don't think that disqualifies Billy Donovan being 60, but yeah, I mean I don't think I have anything else to add to that sentence because double check to me that Tommy Lloyd is 55.
All right.
I think that's what I saw this week was that he was 55. Because remember, he was at Gonzaga for a while.
Yeah. Oh, he's not even 51.
Oh, he's 51. All right, that is significantly different. I'll take it back. That's significantly different. I'm not trying to make 51 young, but that is a significant. Now you're looking at you could viably be looking at a 15-year coach. I mean, obviously, you could be looking at a
25. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think 25.
I mean, maybe some of these coaches are.
How old is Patino now?
Patino
he's 72.
Yeah, 73.
73. Yeah. So sure,
he will be 74 for next season. He turns 74 in September.
Yeah, to say 25 is not impossible, right? Like I don't think it's reasonable to assume that someone's going to coach
right
into their mid 70s, but it's not impossible that you could be looking at a 25-year coach. But you're definitely looking at you're confident you've got 15 years if everything goes well. Whereas you hire a 60-year-old, I'm not sure that you're confident that you have more than like 5 or 6.
Coach K coached to what, 75?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, look, obviously it's been done. I'm not suggesting it hasn't been done or couldn't be done. I just don't think you make.
Yeah, you don't plan for it, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
You don't make a decision assuming that. So that is significantly different. I still don't know that it disqualifies Billy Donovan, but I don't. I just don't know why Billy Donovan. If it was going to be Billy Donovan, I really can't fathom the parties involved not just being like, come on, man, get it on, get on with it. I guess speaking of that, I did not talk about Jaden Ivey at all this week. It's funny because when it first happened on Monday, just as somebody who's not following it closely, right, because it's the regular season in the NBA. Anything could be happening. The Washington Wizards could win a basketball game.
No, they can't.
I know they don't.
Can't.
20 of 21 now that they've lost. I know they don't, but they could.
And they're still not going to get the number one overall pick.
Or if they do, he's going to stink. Just remember, that's the way that it works. When I first heard it said, I don't think I like this. When you only hear the raw details of it, and it sounds like Jaden Ivey was released simply because he was saying that he didn't like Pride Night. We disagree, but I didn't think I liked the idea of him being released because of that. When you learn more of the details or really kind of dive in on some of these Instagram lives that he's been doing, there's definitely more things that appear to be going on. I think it's very reasonable to ask about the status of his mental health. Now, I would hope that if that was what was going on, the Bulls would have said, Jaden, we think you need help. And we don't want to release you. We want to work with you. We want to support you and you receiving the help that you need, because this is manic. I mean, this is alarming if you actually go watch some of these videos. If he doesn't feel that way, and obviously his comments would suggest that he doesn't, then I don't think that that alone would be enough for me to understand. You saying, look, we tried. We wanted to try to help the guy. He doesn't want help. We're going to release him. But then the additional details that came out about the way that he acts, approaching people. Are you a fornicator? Although, admittedly, very funny that he apparently uses that word. I hope he's not having a mental health crisis, because I can't help but laugh at that. And creating a potentially... I thought Sam Decker had a really good response. The former Wisconsin star. Sam Decker. I want to pull up his Twitter to make sure I have this right. Sam Decker said... Hang on. I don't know who this person... Somebody else made a video that was about Jaden Ivey. I don't know who's Connor Griffin, and he plays, or at least played at Nebraska, apparently. And Sam Decker retweeted it and said, "This isn't meant to come off as a knock to CE. I'm a Christian and a basketball player. 90% of the NBA is openly Christian. What I find maddening in all of this is Christians online twisting the story into, quote, Ivy got waived because he is a Christian, unquote. That's just a false statement, and you're pushing drama even further. There are guys that proclaim their faith all over the NBA. It's a shared faith. There are pregame chapel services in every arena where guys come together to worship. There are postgame prayer communities that are visible to fans and cameras. This isn't an intolerance issue by the NBA. Far from it. The league wants guys to proclaim what they believe. With that, you will be fired in any job where you become a workplace nightmare. If you continually disrupt the peace and happiness of your colleagues, you will be held accountable. It's as simple as that." That was from Sam Decker, who played in the league for some time after his career at Wisconsin. I think I saw here. He was a Washington Wizard. Of course he was. They all were. Everyone served their time. And I think it's a really thoughtful response. That we exist in a society of, we want to dumb this down to me versus you, us versus them. That messaging has existed for some time. It exists politically for sure. That everything is as simplified as on my side or against me. And so this story has been ran with by an awful lot of people that didn't know who Jaden Ivey was 4 days ago, whatever it was. I think it was Monday. That are saying lots of things that couldn't tell you anything about Jaden Ivey. They've found it either because they're trying to take advantage of it for monetary gain, because their brand on the internet is about religion and trying to suggest that everything is anti-religion, or because, and I do believe there are some that are genuine, that feel like it's some level of persecution. And when the dumbest and the lowest common denominator types that are trying to manipulate for financial gain convey the message as such, it's easy. It becomes like a game of telephone. It's a very complicated conversation, but by the time it's distilled to you, all you hear is, guy was kicked out of the NBA because he's religious. And you're outraged by it. Even someone like me who's not religious, when I first saw it, was like, that doesn't seem right or good. Now, I did know a little bit more about Jaden Ivey, who, as a player, like coming out of college, I was betting on. I thought that guy was going to be maybe not a star, but like a really quality NBA player. And for a minute, he was. He has not been. And as a lot of people have wondered, that there is, I think, a question about how much of a concern basketball is to him right now. This definitely no longer feels to me like an issue about whether or not Jaden Ivey is religious. And even if there were no other ancillary issues, the idea that your religion requires you to speak out against certain things, that you have to be very public, it's a very weird... I say this because I come from I was brought up very Christian. My family was fanatically religious. And this was the type of stuff that you heard from people, like, you have an obligation, a responsibility. They would talk about it in military-like language. You have to be on the front lines. You've got to do this stuff. Which doesn't actually mean anything. Like, this notion that, like, if you've sold yourself the idea that I'm going to burn in eternal damnation if I don't speak out about everything I don't like, you don't actually even believe that, because you don't speak out about everything. I mean, I guess probably somebody does. But there's lots of sin and sinning in your world that you don't speak out about. You pick and choose. This just isn't, based on all of the evidence that's been presented, it does not appear as though there's anything here. Jaden Ivey appears to be a human being that's going through a crisis. And where that, religion meets that, whether he recognizes that he's going through a crisis, it's easy for somebody to say, hey, we think you need to talk to somebody about your mental health. And somebody said, I don't have a mental health problem. It's sort of like talking to an addict. We think you need to talk to somebody about your addiction. I don't have addiction. Well, that's that then. Jaden Ivey saying that he isn't going through something doesn't mean he's not. The evidence appears to be pretty overwhelming I think Sam Decker's point is well taken. I've said this a million times. Whatever percentage of almost any pro sports league that you think, the hand-in-hand nature of sports and religion over the years has been damn near even. Whatever you think the percentage is of athletes in any given league that are religious, I would tell you, guess higher.
It was like what Rick Barnes was talking about his entire team and talked about just how every player's relationship with Jesus was such a big part of
Buzz Williams.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, right in our backyard.
John Harbaugh made it a central focus. Faith, family, and football, right? It is, they walk hand in hand. And I've said I don't think that means at most places that an atheist or agnostic wouldn't be allowed. I do believe there are programs or teams where coaches would say, I don't think that player is going to be a fit if they found that out about that player. I wholeheartedly believe that, and would probably be willing to give you some examples. These leagues are wildly more Christian religious than I think anyone really realizes they are. Which is kind of why some of these events like Pride Night exist. For the purpose of saying, hey, you're also welcome here. Everyone knows this group of people is welcome here. We want you to know that you're welcome here too. And the dumb responses that always come like, well, is there going to be a Christian night? Well, for what it's worth, the Orioles do now have like Christian faith night. And I don't know what other teams do. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. The Jaden Ivey thing seems to be a lot more about someone whose religious fanaticism is meeting a real mental health problem and who does need help. We're seeing other athletes getting help this Tiger Woods. Big week for help. Tiger Woods is getting help. Puka Nakua is getting help. I hope that's very genuine. I hope that they are obviously dealing with addiction. I hope they get the help they need. I hope we all get help. I think we all should seek help. I definitely know that I would be a better person if I saw a therapist. We should all see a therapist, all of us. But trying to make this religious persecution because either you want to weaponize that for your own social media gain. I don't know if you saw it. It actually was very hilarious yesterday. Josh Dobbs, the quarterback, who is literally a rocket scientist. Josh Dobbs was very excited about the launch, Artemis. By the way, shout out Reed Wiseman, former guest of the program. Big-time Baltimore sports fan, Delaney alum.
We can't say friend of the program? Or
I don't know if he's a friend. I mean, I talked to him a couple times. I emailed with him. He's a great guy. I don't know if I would say friend of the program.
Okay.
It's not really a term that I use anyway. I think it's for my inners. Like Chris Erich is a friend of the program. Brian Powell's a friend of the program.
Got it. So what's Patrick?
Yeah, he's a friend of the program. Okay. He would be, yes. But
what's Drew?
Oh, God. A weird uncle of the program. So Josh Dobbs is really excited about it, right? So he goes to Twitter yesterday. Oh, my God. This is so fun. Josh Dobbs goes to Twitter because he's so excited about the launch. And, he deleted it. Oh, no, he didn't. He did 19 hours ago. To the non-believers, I hope you find peace in your ignorance. This Jaden Ivey story has gotten so much attention this week that, all of the people that are trying to weaponize it and trying to turn it into a story of religious persecution are then retweeting Josh Dobbs, thinking that Josh Dobbs is trying to show quietly, his support for Jaden Ivey and the people that have come out supporting Jaden Ivey this week. To all of you, and then look at the comments are outrageous, like on both sides. It's the people that are very religious, the people that aren't religious at all. Like they're going after this guy until you, yes, as this commenter recognizes, until you realize his post doesn't have anything to do with religion. His post is about how excited he is about the moon landing, and people that don't believe, or there's not going to be a moon landing this time. They're going around the moon. But the people that don't believe that there ever was a moon landing, which you would be able to tell because one tweet later, he's going back and forth with a brain-dead politician who is trying to suggest that they never went to the moon. To all the non-believers about the moon landing, I hope you find peace in your ignorance. I got a real kick out of that yesterday. I can't lie. Like that was very entertaining to me. That was very entertaining. All right. I don't have anything else to say about the Jaden Ivey thing. I stand by. I hope that I don't think that anyone should ever be fired just simply based on what their beliefs are. And while it felt something when I first saw it, a simple amount of research and information allowed me to realize that's not what happened here. And I hope that Jaden Ivey gets help. And if he gets help and he still wants to be a very religious person, there is nothing wrong with that. But grilling people and making them feel unwelcome if they're not, no major employer, again, unless your business is religion. I mean, what was Charlie Kirk's company called? A Turning Point. Unless you're something like that, no organization can allow for that to happen. They can't allow it to be that you create a hostile work environment for everyone because you are grilling them about their actions in life and whether they're fornicating. But I always still encourage people to use the word fornicating. It's a great word. In favor of that.
Okay.
Yeah?
I got nothing.
Okay, Dynamite Tippin', thank you. We'll come back in. We'll get a tidbit. We'll get Tubular to wrap it up. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Dave Ginsburg chats with Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr. about his life now at the age of 65, his role with the Orioles ownership group, and much more. Also inside, Bill Ordine helps us learn more about new Ravens head coach Jesse Minter. Luke Jackson finds out about new Orioles slugger Pete Alonso from those who have played with him, and we meet college lacrosse players from programs all across the area. Press Box is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
March Mania is on at Live Casino. And you can get a front row seat for all the action at Sports and Social. Raise your game with massive wall-to-wall TVs. And raise a cheer with your favorite beers, cocktails, and an all-star menu. Best of all, you could win huge prizes every game. Don't get benched. Book your table at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we are winding things down for a Thursday edition of the program and for the week. Is there anything that we needed to cover that we didn't? I think we're good. Well, we go ahead and get a tidbit, shall we? Tidbit is brought to you today by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. Every Monday, Stan, Ross, and Luke are talking baseball with you. Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. As always, it's brought to you by Warnken Law and the Costas Inn with two great locations, one in Timonium and one in Dundalk.
Codify put together a list. They're some baseball account on Twitter. If he might be wrong, I guess, but I trust it. He put together the best records.
Did you see who I was fighting with today?
On ABS Challenge records. Sure, who are you fighting?
This
with?
is my moon landing.
I think I did see the Orioles guy, whatever his name is.
He's not an Orioles guy.
Chris Johnson or
Chris Johnson. The Not Gaetti account, and I don't even know who runs it, but it's something related to Baseball Reference. Tweeted out in 2012, Baltimore's Nick Johnson.
Oh, Nick Johnson.
0 for 28 to begin the season. He didn't get his first hit of the year until May. He had a 2-run double in his 29th at-bat of the season to break the streak. After breaking the seal, he batted .305 the rest of the way, if you can believe it. And I followed it up by saying, but believing this also requires you to believe that Nick Johnson was an Oriole, and I don't think so. I stand by that. Pretty sure Nick Johnson was never an Oriole.
I don't know. I mean, I have no recollection of that either.
I understand the evidence that he's presenting to me, and he presented more to me. He was very determined to get me to believe.
Gaetti replied to you and said,
yeah,
he is.
I said, the part that still makes me double take after all these years is that he had a lifetime .399 on base percentage. What?
And he was an Oriole?
What? Before that final
he retired as an
Oriole. Baltimore, where he started off over 28, he was carrying a career .401 on base percentage. This is Nick Johnson we're talking about. And then I responded by saying, it's the thing where I have no evidence to the contrary, but I'm still not sure I believe you.
You should have seen how many teams Patrick could have named for
Nick Johnson. Lord. He's never an all-star, right?
No, he wasn't. Yeah. But he had career 400 on base.
I don't believe he was an Oriole. With all due respect to Josh Dobbs.
Need video?
What did Josh Dobbs say? What was the quote?
He said, for the non-believers. I hope you find peace in your ignorance.
Yeah, to the non-believers, I hope you find peace in your ignorance. I'm very peaceful in my ignorance. Very, very peaceful in my Nick Johnson ignorance. I stand by never an Oriole.
Best team on ABS challenges is 12 for 14 through the first week of the season.
Is that the Orioles? They've been very good.
The Orioles are 12 for 14. Yeah. Second best team?
The Diamondbacks, I believe.
No,
they were.
Diamondbacks are fifth. It seems like they have the lowest challenge rate. They are 5 of 7. So that's like 1 a game.
All right.
Number 2.
How would I know?
Because they're on TV a lot.
Oh, the Yankees?
Yeah, the Yankees.
Okay.
13 of 16.
They are on TV a lot. You're right about that.
The Twins have
I
the
don't
highest
watch, though.
challenge rate. They've made 22 challenges.
Yes, but they're also doing the bit where they just challenge when they're mad.
Right. Yeah.
That's just.
They're still good though. 16 and 6. 16
All right.
and 6.
I got
16
that.
of 22. Worst team. Only 2 challenge wins. They're 2 for 12.
Was it the Nationals?
No. The Nationals are bad though. They're 3 for 10. So are the Cardinals. 3
Yeah,
for
this
10
came
as
up
well.
this morning on 98 Rock.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. I don't know where Justin got his numbers from because he was like, I think the Nationals are the worst. I was like, okay, believe you.
2 for 10 or 2 for 12. The Cleveland Guardians do not know the strike zone. Yeah. It's a good thing we got. I guess Vogt doesn't know the strike zone. Albernaz apparently does.
Yeah, thank God.
Tells the guys.
That's why they're falling apart now.
Yesterday, a complete game from Sandy Alcantara or Sandy Alcantara. Did we ever decide what his name is?
We never decided on that.
Sandy
What's
Alcantara.
the Pirates starting on Saturday.
I can't.
Malazewski
or something.
Yeah, it's not pronounced like it's spelled or something like
Mladzinski. But that's what it looks like.
Right, that's what it looks like. Hang on a second. We got to be better about this.
Do we? I mean, this guy's not
supposed to be
Carmen Mladzinski. He's not going to be. He's going to be Nick Johnson in 10 years if he's lucky. There's a G sound? Is that what
Mladzinski.
Mladzinski. Okay, so it's very Polish.
Mladzinski.
Where you just kind of throw that the Jinsky.
I have to host the Orioles pregame show tomorrow, so I might need to mention it. I kind of need to know.
We'll just call the Pirates and ask for a pronunciation.
Yeah. Mladzinski.
And don't call him Cameron, because I definitely thought it was Cameron up until I was looked at it and I saw his first name.
I knew that one. That one I was.
I thought it was Carmen. It should have been Cameron. It should be Cameron though.
Why?
It looks more natural.
All right, if you say so. We'll go with it.
Sandy Alcantara, 13th career complete game. Since he became a regular starter in 2019, he has the most, four more than anybody else. Complete games. Since 2019, there are 5 other players with 6 or more complete games.
Nobody was there.
Yeah, I know.
After the game.
They're not here, but we still are. What did he say?
He was like, we still love you.
Yeah, that's what he said.
There were like 6,000 people.
There were. Imagine what you.
Okay.
Orioles fans complain about it then.
So since when?
Since 2019, most complete games.
So they don't have to be active?
There is one that is he is retired. Yeah.
Is that now I got to think about who's active and who isn't active, and that could be troubling too.
But
how about
for the most part,
DeGrom?
active. No. Which might just be a health thing, I guess.
How about
DeGrom does not go the distance ever.
How about Verlander?
No.
Scherzer.
Verlander would have the most among active. It's like 26 complete games from but no Scherzer either.
Wait, wouldn't you just say there's somebody who isn't active on that?
I was between 2 lists. I was going to ask you most complete games among active pitchers.
Oh.
I decided to go with since 2019 instead. So
okay.
Verlander is not on this list.
He's not on that list.
Yes. Since 2019, no, he does not have many.
I guess these are guys at the end of their career. They're not putting as many innings up. That's fair. Sale.
No, Sale will be on the other list as well.
Okay.
Most among active guys.
So what? Wait. The most. Okay.
Most since 2019.
Most since 2019.
So for Sale and Verlander, you're going back to 2008 or whatever.
Okay. What about Corbin Burns?
No.
Framber.
Framber is number 2 on the list. Okay. 9 complete games for Framber Valdez. 4 behind
Cole.
Sandy. Garrett Cole's 3rd, or tied for 3rd. There's 4 guys with 6.
Fried.
Max Fried, yeah.
Okay.
They're in a roll.
I am, apparently.
He's hitting up.
Nola.
Nola.
No.
You looked it up.
No.
It's in order how they're listed as well.
Shut up.
Yeah. It's listed Cole, Fried, Nola, and then one other. This guy is retired.
Guy who's well, yeah, but do I know they're retired, or
yes,
could it be one of these guys?
You do. He's in a booth somewhere. You've seen him.
Wainwright?
Yeah, Waino.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. He is definitely retired.
Yeah.
He's not just. And what was the other list? The other list.
I was gonna do most among active pitchers.
Yeah, but that requires me to again know who's definitely active.
I mean, you pretty much named. You got Verlander's 1.
Okay.
Sale is 2 with 16. Sandy is 3rd with 13. Scherzer is 4th with 12.
Okay.
And then Framber would be 5th.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the top 5 among active players.
Well,
with
rock and
complete
roll.
games. Yeah. Garrett Cole, you had 2 more if you go expand past 2019. 8 for Garrett Cole.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
Hot damn. How about it? Is that it? We good?
Yeah, we can be good.
Then why don't we get tubular?
Because I guess I wasn't
you weren't
quite
ready.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we weren't getting tubular. It's because you weren't ready.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, here's what's coming up tonight, totally tubular-wise. Nothing.
Damn, really?
Nothing. I mean, I got nothing for you.
The
man.
Pit. We got that.
Sure. The Capitals play tonight, if that interests you. They are on ESPN Plus and Hulu.
Have to win
tonight. Do they?
I mean, more or less. I can't really afford many losses.
And what happens if they don't? Do they get executed?
Well, they don't.
Like,
They don't.
I don't understand.
I think they'd still be alive if they lose tonight. But if they lose, they continue to lose after tonight. Then
Somebody, when we were
then
doing
not
98
good.
Rock this morning, Scott said, "What if there was a bigger penalty for getting the challenge wrong?" I was like, "What? You lose a toe? Like what?" He meant like an extra strike. Like if you challenge and it's
the
wrong,
next batter gets a strike, starts 0-1.
Yeah,
something like that.
I was like, that is quite something. That's on ESPN Plus and Hulu tonight.
What are you talking about? We got NIT in the Crown.
Right, NIT and the Crown. That's what you got.
What you got?
The worst morning show in Rochester, New York. I'm NIT, and I'm the Crown. You're listening to 95.5 The Buzz. God. That's what you got tonight, sports-wise. I can't make it better than it is because it's.
We got a full hockey
terrible.
slate. Yeah, there's
Sure.
plenty. Yeah, reminds me to go to my Jersey Mike's app to start picking some games.
Okay.
You get points. You know that?
No.
I guess we should be plugging.
Yeah, they don't do anything for us.
Yeah, but you get free sandwiches.
Okay.
If you get enough games right.
Good for you. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Joy.
No, you should be excited. New edition, new season, I guess, of Real Housewives. They're going to Rhode Island.
I'm waiting for this.
The Real Housewives of Rhode Island on Bravo
until they finally did the right thing and went to Rhode Island.
They went to Rhode Island. Yeah.
I
So
refuse.
you got that. That'll be on Bravo tonight as well, so you can check that out.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh God, it is even.
What do you mean?
bleaker than
The Pit and Real Housewives of Rhode
Really,
Island. What else do
really
you need
bleak,
on a
man.
Thursday night?
God, it is bleak. We should do something. Like, what should we have done to step up and fill the void? Why isn't there an Orioles minor league game on tonight? Why didn't they have?
There's none. Oh, that's sort of like not.
Like
I
on
mean, if you have MLB TV,
you know what I
you
mean?
can
Like
watch them.
they should have been doing that. Come on, man. Bad. Thanks to Buck Showalter. Thanks to Patrick Stevens. We'll get it up in the greatest hits section of the.
Click the way. Meryl Streep and Maggie Rogers will be on Stephen Colbert.
I love Maggie Rogers. Maryland native.
Oh wait, sorry, that was last night.
Oh right. Thanks.
Paul
for getting me
Simon
on.
will be on Colbert.
I was thinking about watching Colbert. Not
Well,
at
you can go
all.
back.
Not even a little bit.
You
I'd be
watch it
lying
while you
if
can.
That's a good point. We don't have a whole lot. But I definitely wasn't going to.
Oh,
do
Jack
that.
Black and Olivia Munn will be on Fallon.
Thank God. Oh, is this the
Yes.
Jack Black, Jack White week
Yeah,
on
it's
SNL?
Jack Black and Jack White. Yeah.
Jack Gray, they call it, of course.
Is that what they do?
I think I think they've performed together as Jack Gray before. So I'm weirdly excited about that on SNL. I don't have a lot in my life. Let me have what I can, okay?
There's a
You're the
Gatton
judge.
Matarazzo will be in this Hulu movie called
a
Pizza Movie.
Yeah,
which looks like
it looks.
Harold and Kumar.
It doesn't.
They want
look,
to try
no,
to. Well,
Harold
they're
and
trying
Kumar,
to.
Harold and Kumar is a classic.
I know.
This looks like garbage.
Maybe it'll be good.
Harold and
Maybe it'll
Kumar
be funny.
was some of the most fun I've ever had in a movie theater. You know how many times in my life I've quoted, "We've come too far"?
No, I don't.
And you just right down the hallway. And you want to go back and get, no, we've come too far.
I don't
I've
know.
said that a million times in my
Sean
life.
Jambroni? I don't know
Who?
He's the other guy. He's
Sure
the
he
other
is.
co-star.
I don't believe you.
Sean Jambroni? He was
Isn't
in the
he
Gold.
the guy that's
the
starting for the
Goldbergs movie.
Pirates on Saturday?
No, that's
Jambroni?
Majinski.
Majinski.
Oh, Friday? You want to know?
No.
Oh, Mitch Keller tomorrow. That's.
Oh, and Konnor Griffin's going to play this weekend.
Yes, that is true.
That is significant. The Pirates called up top prospect. He's just 19 years old, correct?
Yeah.
He will be in action. They were just waiting for the home. They didn't want him to make his debut on the road, which I get.
Sweet, right?
I do get that. Ideally, that's where you do. Who did the Orioles do this with, where they had him debut on the road? Was
Gunnar
it Jackson?
debuted in Cleveland. Yeah, Holiday. Did he debut? No, Holiday debuted in Boston, right? Was that?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
They've done this a few times.
Where it's almost like they're trying to debut them on the road.
Yeah,
But with Beavers debuted home.
Yeah, but that.
And he's obviously he's a
pop
pillar
in-
guy.
Yeah, he did not have the pop in the pop. Did I say pop in circumstance? What is going on with me?
Where did Basayo and Beaver? They were like the same weekend, right?
Were they?
Yeah.
Basayo
Because they were waiting until August 15th
Basayo
or
had
whatever.
a little more oomph to it.
Yeah.
But, like these prospects everybody's waiting for, desperately wants to see, and you can see him in Milwaukee.
Yeah, no, Gunnar I definitely remember first because he hit a home run in his debut in Cleveland.
All right. Anyway, yes. This weekend, bat-around.
Trey debuted at home. Yeah.
Who did?
Trey
Mancini.
Yeah. The last, I don't know.
I don't think he
last
had,
debut I can remember.
I don't think he
before
had
this
the
current,
same oomph.
Yeah, but they won the game, I think, right?
That's the case. All right. Bat-around.
Adley debuted.
Oh, I gotta go. I got a meeting.
You start just saying that, I think.
I do. And don't you have a show to do?
No, it's Passover.
Oh,
Happy
right.
Pesach, everyone.
Thank you. How was Seder?
I didn't have one. At least not yet.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thanks.
Thanks today to Bat-Around Sunday night, Paul and Zach. And we'll be back on Monday. And is Jerry joining us on Monday?
Not confirmed.
Okay.
I mean, it's Jerry.
Rock and roll. Thanks today to Buck Showalter. Thanks also to Patrick Stevens. We already did that part. You already said the thing.
Jack Black, Jack White on SNL.
Yep, I'm at a loss. Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, the Costas Inn, Baltimore Area High's Dairy Stores, Leading Edge Auto Body, Warnken Law, Cruise Maryland, 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Quigley's Half Irish Pub, CountySports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Thursday evening. Go nobody. Duke sucks.